If you're watching Real Vision, then you're probably here to improve your investment process, right? But what does that even mean? Because there are so many different experts that come on Real Vision with different strategies, they invest in different asset classes. So eventually you start wondering, who should I copy? I mean, who do I follow? Well, maybe the answer is no one. Maybe we all need to develop our own process and do our own homework. But then the next question is, where do we start? Well, that's what we're gonna be talking about in this episode of Real Vision's The One Thing. What's going on, investors? AK here. Recently, Keith McCullough of Hedge sat down with Raoul to talk about how he arrived at his process.
2009 was where I just ignored my own process. Because I just thought the smaller probability outcome is going to be the one that happens, which is a dumb thing to do, right? You're betting on the really small probability. But that's what I did, and it screwed it up. How's your business evolved, and how's your process, more importantly, evolved?
Yeah, the two big components of my process have never been more robust. So I have the fundamental research process, which we call our GIP model, or growth inflation policy model. Effectively, get the rates of change in growth and inflation right, and you're going to get the forward behavior of the policymaker right. You know, if my outlook is, in Q4, we said quad 4 in Q4. It's our 4-quadrant model. Quad 4 is when you have growth and inflation slowing at the same time. I said, if that turns out to be accurate and the data continues to rinse and repeat, negative rate of change, growth, and inflation, the Fed will not only not be raising interest rates, the last rate hike will be into a slowdown, and then we'll be talking about falling interest rates.
So this clip was great because it shows that even when you have a robust process like Raoul does, sometimes even the best stray away from it and end up betting on, as he said, low probability events. Keith then goes into the framework he uses where he breaks down the economy into different quadrants, and then from there he drills down into specific positions. He also has an interesting approach to his macro outlook, which is what he's famous for. The way he actually drives that outlook is by analyzing the business results of global companies. So in that sense, he's going from bottom up.
Started to build a global macro overlay to actually analyzing companies from a bottom-up perspective, which was easier with global companies like Nike, for example, or some of the big ones that I started to understand better earlier. But it all started with just being an analyst. You know, I started as an analyst, and now today, like I moonlight as a macro strategist. But all my macro calls are born out of that same analytical process. That's 20 years. We're almost 20 years later, but I've really just applied most of my fundamental learnings as a bottom-up analyst to my top-down view. And it's certainly not a qualitative one, it's how I quantify it, like this whole rate of change process that we built and whatnot.
For another example of how to build an investment thesis, Kyle Bass, the legendary hedge fund manager, sat down with Real Vision to give his thoughts.
It's easy to maintain a conviction, it's harder to maintain investors.
Right.
And you know, to those that are committed to the excellence of research in this business and ideas in this business, we check and recheck our thesis all the time. It's a constant endeavor, 24/7, 7 days a week. In being more public with your views also invites a new level of scrutiny and discourse. And that discourse only makes you better at what you do.
Another process that's not as common but should be universally respected because of how much work is involved in it is short selling. We've had some of the best short sellers in the world on Real Vision, and what you'll realize with all of them is that they're truly the best detectives. Check out this clip of this amazing interview with Mark Cohodes and Grant Williams.
I have done the work here of the SEC, the DOJ, the FDA. I've helped Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas not cover this shit, private insurance companies, the VA, so vets don't get injected with this poison, and on and on and on. And the government and the regulators sit there with their heads literally up their ass.
If there's one common idea that we keep coming back to, it's how important it is to actually have a defined process. Because if you have a defined process, then you're not gonna fall into that trap of just trying to chase results. If you're just trying to chase results, that's how you end up buying at the top and selling at the bottom. You lose money. You're always gonna wanna join the latest fads without the least bit of understanding of why that fad exists and how it's even making money. So the point is, at Real Vision, no matter how much we're focused on forecasts and opinions, we're probably even more interested in process. And if you want more help fine-tuning your process, then make sure you subscribe to Real Vision. I'll talk to you in the next video.